My name is LV, and I'm speaking my mind. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. Matthew 25:35 through 40. That's not just scripture. It's a measuring stick. It asks one brutal question of any nation claiming moral authority. What do you do when your neighbor is hungry? America is failing that test. As of November 1st, 2025, SNAP, the program that keeps groceries in the cart for roughly 41 to 42 million Americans, is on the brink. Why? Because the federal government has been shut down since October 1st. And the administration has chosen not to use roughly $5 to $6 billion in SNAP contingency funds to bridge benefits for November, saying those dollars are only for disasters. Translation: the money exists, but they're refusing to use it, leaving millions at risk of seeing their food aid stop. Governors and mayors are scrambling. Some states are trying emergency patches. Others are warning people to seek charity. This isn't a hurricane. This is a man-made storm. You'll hear a lot of finger pointing, but here are the facts you can put your hands on. A USDA memo dated October 24th says the department will not use contingency funds for November SNAP, and it won't reimburse states that try to front the money themselves. That puts families, seniors, veterans, and children directly into the crosshairs of a political stalemate. Meanwhile, pushback is real. California's governor just sued the administration for illegally withholding benefits. Other leaders are exploring legal and emergency options because they know what's coming: empty refrigerators and crowded food pantry lines. And even if November gets patched at the 11th hour, a bigger wave is already rolling in. Earlier this year, Republicans moved a package, lovingly branded the One Big Beautiful Bill, that reshapes SNAP with stricter work rules, narrower waivers, and major funding shifts to states. The Congressional Budget Office estimates the changes would reduce SNAP participation by about 2.4 million people in an average month through 2034, cutting nearly $187 to $300 billion tied to the program over a decade, depending on which provisions you tally. Independent analysts warn millions more will lose some or all benefits month to month as these rules phase in. That's not trimming fat. That's cutting into bone. Let's translate the excuses you'll hear into plain English. Excuse number 1. We're promoting work and independence. That plays well in a press release, but the research record is stubborn. Stricter SNAP work requirements do not meaningfully increase employment. What they do increase are paperwork huddles, bureaucratic churn, and benefit loss for eligible people, especially those with unstable hours, caregiving duties, health issues, or limited transportation. Even mainstream policy shops and reporters note that these rules strain state agencies and don't deliver promised job gains. Excuse number 2. We're stopping fraud and saving taxpayers money. SNAP's payment accuracy rates are historically strong, and most savings here come from cutting people off the rolls, not from rooting out some mythical ocean of fraud. The CBO's projected savings primarily reflect fewer people getting help, not some efficiency miracle. And shifting costs to states doesn't end hunger. It just moves the bill from Washington to your governor and to local charities that were never designed to replace a national nutrition program. Excuse number 3. Legally, our hands are tied during the shutdown. The USDA memo claims contingency funds aren't legally available for regular benefits. Critics point to prior planning documents and argue the administration could take steps to avoid a hunger cliff. Either way, the decision to let benefits lapse is a choice, not a natural disaster. The clock is ticking because leaders won't negotiate a clean reopening, and ordinary people are the leverage. Let's add context. Emergency allotments. Those pandemic top-ups that cushioned family budgets ended nationwide in March 2023, creating a hunger cliff that researchers tied to rising food hardship. Since then, the cost of a basic meal has outpaced SNAP's benefit in many places. Families were already stretching. Now we're talking about no benefits at all. That's not belt tightening. That's ripping the belt off someone already skipping meals. So what's the truth? The truth is that hunger is a policy choice. In a shutdown, leaders can choose to keep SNAP flowing while they argue about everything else. Or they can choose to use hungry families as hostages in a budget fight. In legislation, leaders can choose evidence-based policies that actually help people work and eat. Or they can pass feel-good slogans that push millions off the rolls and call it reform. The path we're on does the latter. Now, back to Matthew 25. Jesus doesn't say, "I was hungry and you audited me." He doesn't say, "I was hungry and you told me to come back when the paperwork cleared." He says, "I was hungry and you fed me." Our politics should be at least that moral, and our budget should be at least that honest. Here's what we can do right now. Demand a clean end to the shutdown that immediately protects November SNAP, no gimmicks, no side deals, no hostage taking. Reject performative work rules that don't increase work but do increase hunger and red tape. Push your representatives for policies that actually connect people to jobs, transportation, childcare, training without yanking food. Support local food banks, but remember, charity can't replace policy. SNAP provides far more meals than the entire charitable system on its best day. We need both, and we need government to do its job. If your leaders can find the political will to cut taxes, pass mega bills, and fast-track pet projects, they can find the will to keep children fed in November. Anything less is a failure of leadership and a failure of faith. Because the test is simple. I was hungry. What did you do? I'm LV, and I have spoken my mind.